There are several tools built into Oasis as far as managing spec orders and invoices as they come in. And they're really built in with everything else. So it's the same flow, the same process, whether it's a commissioned order that you sent over the factory or it happens to be an order that someone else sent over and your specifier happens to be in the area and you're getting credit for it. What I'll do is I'll go to the invoice section in Oasis. I'll create a new commissioned order or new commissioned invoice here. What I'll do is I'll work with my fundamental lighting. I'll add in some spec PO I've never heard of. Now obviously it'll be the PO number that you have. I hit tab and nothing happens because the PO wasn't sent by my company. It was sent by some other agency somewhere else. I only get the spec credit on it. That's all I get. So what I need to do is create a matching PO at the same time so I don't have to bounce between different sections of Oasis. So I'll go to Tools. I'll create a matching PO. Notice that there's an F3 key. You just hit the F3 key and it'll do exactly the same thing. But I'll hit F3. And a lot of folks will create an out-of-territory distributor in the system. And I've actually done that out of territory. And all I do is I select it, create an invoice for it. The first thing that happens is it identifies all the spec jobs in the system. I can key in a search, do a partial project name or whatever it is on there. And what I'm doing is I'm linking back to that original project so I can run reports and identify what's going on. So I have one factory that ships something. I might as well start asking the rest of the factories on that job, hey, have you heard anything? And that's a different report. We can talk about that later. But here I have my spec registration example here. I'll hit OK. The next thing it does is ask basically what do I get off of this? So this one's being built out of state. I get the spec credit and that's it. So that's some other agency. And you can add other factories in or other reps that you work with quite a bit, just so you can track how much volume and business you're doing in conjunction with them. But I'll just say other agency, I don't care. Main thing is I get the local, or I get the spec credit for both sales and commission, and this one's at 50%, so it's kind of nice, split of the money there. So I'll hit OK. Everything starts dividing up now, so all I really need to do is key in the invoice number, whatever it happens to be from the factory. Key in the invoice date if I choose to. Now in this case, we recommend that you always use, or nearly always use, a lot value when you apply this because there's no real reason to identify the individual items. So you can, if you want, just key over top where it says material and you can track what it is and how it's shipped and everything else. But most people don't do that. So this is a $15,000 order, hit tab. Now I immediately have $15,000 on it. This is one area where we strongly recommend that you set up your factories such that they have the default commission rate because this helps speed you up as well. What I'll do in this case is I'll say this is a 10% line, I get 10% of it, and everything's starting to divide up in the header showing me what's going on. So on this invoice, it's $15,000. We get 50% credit on that, so we get $7,500 sales credit on it. At the same time, it's going to estimate what we're getting as far as earnings go. So we only expect to get $750 out of the $1,500 on the entire commission on this order here. At that point, I simply do a save and close or save and new if I have another one. And I'm ready for the next invoice. I'm going to close out there, and that is how you apply spec invoices to non-existing orders inside of Oasis. And once they're put in the system, by the way, all you do is apply the next invoice to it and keep adding material and money to that original PO as you find out about it.